How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Seattle Kraken franchise mode, episode number 31, headed into the 2028 draft and off-season. In the last one, it was a crazy postseason run by the Anaheim Ducks, and unfortunately, we were in the middle of their path. They took down the, including us, first, second, third, and fourth best teams in the NHL in ourselves, Edmonton, Chicago, and Toronto on their way to a Stanley Cup. They were the 18th best team in the NHL, barely squeaked into the playoffs, and took down the Leafs in 7 to win the Stanley Cup, their first since 2007, and the Leafs losing their third Stanley Cup in 4 Stanley Cup final appearances. Scott leaving a funny comment of how the Ducks must have had the Minnesota Miracle Man as their coach to make that run. I can only imagine this universe's version of Steve Dangle after the Leafs Cup woes. You can say that again. But nonetheless, it was still a fun run. It was a good series against Vancouver. It was a good series against Anaheim. We ran into a very good goaltender in Michael DiPietro. Scott leaving another good comment here. It was a Vancouver Sun exclusive news story. According to an anonymous source in the Vancouver Canucks organization, Canucks goalie Michael DiPietro has not spoken to any Canucks defenseman since the team's 4-1 loss in the first round of the playoffs. It also appears that he has blocked all of them on social media as well. DiPietro posted a .929 save percentage despite facing an average of 43 shots per game in the series. Adding fuel to the fire, DiPietro's agent recently tweeted a photo depicting a sword in his client's back with the name of the Canucks defenseman positional coach on the blade. Oh my goodness. Also goes on to say, real talk, what is DiPietro's role, potential, cap hit, all that stuff? Could be a potential backup since Wilma is injury prone, and it doesn't feel like Malik is really anything special when given the opportunity. I followed up in the comment. I said that DiPietro, I looked into it myself. He's 85 overall. He's making just over $5 million for the next 2 years. His numbers are nothing too crazy, but honestly, for that cap hit, plus we have our own things to take care of contractually, we'll probably wait on going after a backup goalie. That's probably the last thing that will be on our minds. Because you know what, Malik, even though he hasn't had much to do, when he has shown up, he's been pretty solid. In the regular season, he went 9-4-0 with a .903 save percentage, 2.54 goals against. So I think I'm happy to keep him as our backup moving into next year. But of course, if the opportunity were there for DiPietro to move and we had the salary cap, maybe. But definitely a fun thought and storyline to keep in mind. But speaking of contracts, now that we're here at the contract screen, there's a lot to talk about headed into year number 8 next season. After winning 3 cups in the last 4 years, we'll try to make it 4 in 5. And we're getting into some dangerous territory here because next year is the last year of McKinnon's contract, of Tuck's contract, of Bear's contract. It's going to cost a lot of money to keep these guys. We're in a good salary cap spot where we currently have $19 million to play with, but just looking at this season's expiring players, Popov, Miller, Moss, Maloney, Reese, a lot of low money guys, a lot of players who weren't making a lot of money. So now comes in the who stays, who goes thought process. So a lot of great comments in the last one. I always reply to all of them, and you can go ahead and read some of those replies, but I'll try to keep what I feature here in the video as short as possible. Jack leaving a comment here that he may get some hate for. Tarasenko is 36 and 84 overall, which will dip when you reach at the start of the year to at least an 82 overall. He may need to be moved to get cap space because we only have 19 million at the moment, depending on what these RFAs look like. With the young guys growing, he may find his way onto the 4th line, and I love the guy. I'd rather see him flourishing on another team in the East than being demoralized on the 4th. We'll get back to that. There was another comment that touched upon Tarasenko from the Discord server. We'll get to that shortly. Concerning other possible moves, Gen Z McKenzie says trade Roman Bladder. We'll get to him in a second. He's the oldest and worst goalie prospect we have, and we can capitalize on his elite potential and get value back for him while still having 3 potential starting goalies of the future. So looking at our goalies in the system right now, all of them that we can play with. So we got Will and Malik in the NHL. AHL next season likely going to be Kelly and Hilpert, or Kelly and Malhi, depending on growth. That does leave Bladder as the 3rd or 4th in the AHL. Kelly, it looks to be very solid. Cole Kelly, a 5th round pick in 2027, already a 70 overall, medium elite potential. So he'll be starting in the AHL. Now just to say who's the backup, Hilpert or Bladder. Bladder does have the elite potential, but he's 2 overall less and 1 year older than Hilpert, and even 2 overall less and 2 years older than Malhi, who has the same potential. Malhi being a second-round pick in 2026. So I think we're going to prioritize him a little bit over Blatter, who's a sixth-round pick in 2024. Hasn't really done much. Yeah, played 6 games, didn't have good numbers in the AHL. Last season he was good. But just, as Gen Z McKenzie says, probably better to just capitalize on him right now. Won't make any moves at the moment or at the draft. Always want to wait and see what kind of growth happens. And then once the preseason begins in September, that's when these moves will happen. Head into the Discord server now where Pat paraphrases his YouTube comment. I think that it is a season to be proud of. 3 straight is wild. Even trying for this 4th, just barely losing in 7 to the white-hot eventual Cup champs has no shame. You even mentioned their postseason resume, knocking the top 3 out. Chubarov on the Ducks was just on a 95 Claude Lemieux / 04 Brad Richards run. Now we're getting down to the actual contract situations in our team. Let Dawson Mercer walk. He's 26. His window to be anything beyond a 4th liner is shut. $3+ million? No thank you. I'd love to see Tarasenko drop to the 3rd line with Maloney and either Lume or Popov, with Lume or Popov moving to the 2nd line with Moss and Beniers. Tiny Morrison needs to crack the top 4, and Ethan Bear is still the man, so either let Miller walk or trade Chychrun to make room. The smart move is likely keeping Chychrun, but I stan Miller, so I hope he returns. Honestly, I see another option in moving David Jiricek, so thank you for that comment, Pat. I don't think Chychrun moving is even close to an option, unfortunately. Unfortunately, in terms of now we're stuck with something, but fortunately because he is a monster. But the point of the blue line needing to open up is absolutely true. Looking at just the defensemen here, main roster. If Chychrun and Bear are 1 and 2, for example, that means Miller and Jiricek are 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 would be, I don't know, Evans, Fleury, Kozlov are all there. But Evans didn't play last year. Fleury was our 7th defenseman. We have Tiny Morrison, who just played a full NHL season. He's going to want to play. Kobazu's pushing. Sloan is pushing. Lundberg might be pushing. So we got to open up the blue line somewhere. And I was likely going to move on from David Jiricek, but he grew from an 82 to an 83. He's making 4.3 for 2 more seasons after this one. He was one of our first ever draft selection in this franchise mode, the 4th overall pick in 2022. Shot blocking's only at an 83, which is a bit odd, but he has 4-star shooting. But does he ever really take advantage of it? He never scored more than, 3 to 8 goals in a season. So, I don't know, his offense hasn't been there. He just had the highest offensive output of his career, the best plus-minus as well. But if it comes down to, do we keep K'Andre Miller? Yes, he's 4 years older. Yes, he's only 1 overall higher. And yes, he's going to cost more than David Jiricek. But when we look at the numbers, 6'5", big boy, 2nd pair minutes, consistently putting up those mid-20 points. And the plus-minus, aside from this last year, has been better. It might come down to a money thing, though, because I love K'Andre Miller. As Pat says, we stand K'Andre Miller. We picked him up from the New York Rangers. They kept him as an RFA. He's now spent 4 seasons here on the team. He has been really, really good. But for Jiricek costing $1 million+ less for 2 more seasons and being 4 years younger, we might have to go Chychrun Bear in the top pair, Jiricek and, say, Morrison on the 2nd, and then Kozlov and, say, Kobasu on the 3rd. And that's still leaving Sloan out, so that's the difficult thing. We'll figure that out as we get into the draft here, but, well, I wonder how much value the rights to K'Andre Miller has. Those are the tough decisions that you got to make as we go deeper into the franchise mode, unfortunately. And now finishing it off by getting to I'm Sean Avery's comment. Starts it off by saying, I'd like you to check on Anaheim's roster, see for their games played, because maybe they had a lot of injuries during the season, and that's why they only had 38 wins. Well, actually, pretty much everybody has 82 games played. It was a full, healthy, 100% season from everybody. Zegras, Teravainen, Puljujarvi, Chubarov. The only guys who seem to be injured are Lundstrom for 4 games, Ball for a couple, Bodie Wild for a handful. Parayko was acquired at the deadline and only played 2 games as an 82 overall, but that doesn't really do anything. Goaltending, John Gibson played the full season pretty much, so I don't know how this team won 38 games and then went on to beat the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th best teams in the NHL, but hey, all the credit to them once more. Now getting to the rest of I'm Sean Avery's comment. This is a comment for the Hall of Fame. If you don't like longer comments, then feel free to skip ahead, but this is going to be very helpful for us moving into the offseason, so let's dive into this. This is what gets you paid the big bucks as an assistant general manager. For the offseason, contract, Popov, asking way too much money for what I've seen. Not a bad player, but I haven't been impressed enough to give him the terms and money that he's asking for. Qualify him for another year, and we'll have another look at him after next season. Next, K'Andre Miller. Honestly, I don't know. We have some great young talents that are ready to take that step, but we could trade him to have a better first-round pick, / we could sign him on a short-term deal. I'll let you and the other assistant GMs decide on him. Chris Moss is my guy. From 30 points to a 60-point season, he's learning quickly and he knows how to adjust in this league. I would give him the maximum number of years to keep him as an RFA, whatever that cost is, or even go up to 8 years if the salary difference isn't too high. I can see him taking Tuck's spot on the first line as soon as next year, only at 23 years of age. Maloney, qualified, not much to say. Jamison Reese, he had a great season. He was a great revelation as our fourth-line centerman. But as a third or fourth-line centerman, liner, we don't have to sign him, especially not at $2 million plus. Depth is important, but Jamison Reese is a kind of player that you can replace every year for about $1 million. Now, I do agree with this point in terms of franchise mode, where you just wait and see in free agency whose demand drops. You get an 80, 81, 82 overall guy for $1 million, $1.5 million. But I do also want to keep the idea of continuity and re-signing players that we have seen do well and that we can trust. That's why I'd like to keep Jamison Reese. Side note, I'd go fully defensive on the fourth line, only grinders in 2 ways. Riker Evans, your call. Hayden Fleury can let him go. Great smile, but we're pretty much set on defense. Alex Kozlov, he's asking for a fair price. 3 years, no problem. Dawson Mercer, great looking guy, but his demand is way too high for his one empty net goal in the playoffs. I wouldn't mind his no scoring if he was a shutdown defensive player, using the penalty kill and the fourth line, but he isn't. Use him to get a better pick. Dylan Gamble, we can find a similar guy. We'll see what happens. Vesa Heiskanen, cool guy to be around in the dressing room. Also works hard in the gym. Would qualify him. Sounds good. Now, the next part of this comment goes into next season, 2029-30. First, we're thinking about Nathan MacKinnon because, as I mentioned previously, he, Alex Tuch, and Ethan Bear all on expiring contracts. MacKinnon, heart and soul, give him what he wants. Alex Tuch, as stated earlier, I think Moss will deserve and prove that he can take that spot on the first line. I would either trade him at the draft or let him go next season. Depending on the year, maybe he's a deadline guy. We'll most likely need him for the playoffs. Tuch, he had a 100-point season, I think, or at least he was well over a point per game. He's up to an 89 overall. I'd really want to keep him if possible. Yeah, he scored 87 points. 87, but still, well above a point a game. He was amazing. Not quite in the hundreds of Marco and MacKinnon, but no problem with him. We took him from dying on the fourth line in Vegas, and we gave him new life here in Seattle. Vladimir Tarasenko now, he must retire a Kraken. I'll be mad if we trade or don't re-sign him, unless we trade him to St. Louis if they have a contending team. He's been a leader since he got there, scored so many important goals, and he deserves to be on the third line until his retirement. Even if, say, the game says he's the 73 overall, I'd keep him on the third line no matter what, out of respect. Maybe scratch him sometimes if need be in the playoffs, depending on his performances, but I'm sure that his poise can help us. You sounded almost mad for his 6 points. I didn't mean to in the playoffs. Our guy is turning 37 in December. From now on, he is leading more from experience than skills. He is our David Justice with the Oakland Athletics. Once a superstar, now a mentor. Finishing off with draft thoughts. I'll get into the draft in a moment, but the draft thoughts are we need to keep the late first-round pick to draft that Quinville guy that our scouts had ranked at around 15, and we could get him late at like 27, so we got to take him. We can go with the flow and use our 15th overall pick to draft Niskala, an NHL-ready, supposedly, defenseman. Even though he's NHL-ready, I wouldn't sign him. Let him play another year where he is, and we can check on him next season. Or we trade the 15th with Mercer and or Miller with assets for a top 5 pick. Doing so, I'd try to get Varlamov, a two-way forward who can play center or left wing. Haven't seen much of the rest of the draft, but here are the 2 options that I have in mind. Well, thank you very much. I'm Sean Avery. Those are fantastic thoughts, and especially for the draft where, if we are moving on from Dawson Mercer, I am inclined to think so. Pat thinks so. I'm Sean Avery thinks so. And just the roster spots aren't there. Even though Tarasenko's trending downward, I'd rather keep him for one more season on the third line than try, dump him on the fourth line and try to squeeze life out of Dawson Mercer, who is 26, medium top 6, yeah, but man, we've tried to make him grow. He's been getting worse every year, technically. 32, 31, and then 30. And considering the games played as well, 95 points, negative 16 in 255 games played. We picked him up from, and that's including games on Pittsburgh. We picked him up from the Penguins. He was a first-round pick of the Devils in 2020. We wanted to get him for, that maritime love, but I just don't think he's fitting right now. He's been good. He's been helpful for us as well on our road to those Stanley Cups and the playoffs, and especially in the last couple of years. Not this last year, but the 2 years before that. He had 21 points in 42 games, so got to give him credit for that, but I think it's just time to move on from him because we don't have that, say, $3 million, and then he'll be a UFA next season. I don't think it's there, and we'll have other people coming up in the system like Bergenheim or Lume, etc., who will take those third-line spots. So all that being said, we can start heading into the draft. I don't know if we're going to use our 15th overall pick because let's say we take the 15th overall pick and Mercer, and then we trade even the rights to Andre Miller. I don't think that's enough to really move up anywhere. We'll see what kind of picks are available. The Jets pick first. No picks available until pick number 7, and then 13, 14, and we pick at 15. So that's why I don't think there's really going to be anyone for us to really move up for. There's Bobkov, first overall, the Ukrainian. Love to see that. Cogliano, Klimchuk. Jensen here is interesting as a medium elite gem. But I don't know, do we want a player who's NHL ready right now? Unless we draft him and keep him in the SHL for another season, perhaps. That would be interesting, but that's only assuming we get a top 5 pick, and I don't think we have the value to get there. If not, we're going down to 15, where we do get Marco Niskala here, but we just have so many defensemen in the system. Even if we didn't sign him for a couple of years, for even a year or two, he's probably NHL ready anywhere between 74 and 80 overall. That's why it wouldn't be a bad idea at all to draft him, but we do have a lot of D in our system. And depends. Could we pick up something good by trading down is the question. If we could trade down to like 22, 23, and then we get this guy César Brisebois, or even, what's his name, Johan Hornqvist, 3 years away though. Brisebois is 2 years away. I'd probably prefer to go for Brisebois over here. 3 bars medium elite as well. Packard is pretty interesting too at 3 bars medium elite, but I don't know, as a two-way forward, he's good too. It's just depends what pick's available, because after 15, and then is it even worth it to trade down? If we trade from 15 to 19, what can we really realistically squeeze out of Tampa Bay to move down those 4 spots? So let's say we were trading with Tampa Bay. If I give them the 15th overall pick, our first round selection, I don't know, let's say like 2 third-round picks. Does that even make sense? 2 thirds to move up 4 spots aren't where you need to be. Just 19 and 83. I don't think they'd even do that. Trade accepted. Okay, so trade accepted there. There we go. So we get an extra third-round pick in our system. That's not bad, actually. Okay, I'm happy with that. At 19th overall, we'll be able to take Brisebois. I'm sure that I'm sure that Niskala is a good overall and all that, but those guys come up often, and we have a good pool. I'm okay with trading down and getting another piece. Who knows what that third-round pick becomes. So Bobkov, the Ukrainian sniper, 82 overall, goes first to Winnipeg. Cogliano, medium elite defensive defenseman, 80 overall to Buffalo. Klimchuk, Jensen, very interesting there, but was picked as high as 4. We weren't going to be able to get him. I looked at trade value earlier. Mercer barely has anything. Miller has none, so just was not going to be able to happen. Varlamov, that player we were thinking about, 73 overall, high top 6, two-way forward. Again, just not a guy we could get, because at 7 it would have been Bergqvist or Almqvist or Petrovic. I was thinking about Petrovic, to be honest, when I did my pre-scouting. A 17-year-old who said he was NHL ready, 76 overall is great, but just it's tough taking all these guys who are so close to being ready, because we have a solid team right now. We barely have room for guys like Rickard Bergenheim to come in. I don't know if we want to be continuing to give ourselves more problems, right? That, it's different ways of seeing the organizational makeup. That's kind of how I see it. Anisimov, Packard there, 69. Niskala ends up being a 77 overall, defensive defenseman, medium top 4. We have guys like that. It's not a big deal. He would have been a great selection. He's not a bad pick at all, but just we have that. Zeeler is a 74 overall sniper. 5-star shooting? What? That's crazy. And now we pick here at 19. So we get an extra third-round pick, and we're picking at 19. It's probably going to be Brisebois here. We could even trade down some more, but I don't think there's anyone else who wanted to trade their pick. That's the problem. Anyone else have A+ shooting or anything like that? Like Zeeler? That's crazy. I didn't know he had such high shooting. But I'll just go ahead and take the 3-bar medium elite player, César Brisebois from the Val d'Or Foreur of the QMJHL. Let's get it done here at 19th overall. Welcome to Seattle, big boy. 66 overall, medium top 6 sniper. with normal average stats. He can hopefully grow. If not, he's a piece. Whatever. It's a solid first-round pick for us. Bienvenue à l'équipe. Welcome, Bello. Pick 27 is the next one. I'd like to get that player that we have an eye on, Quinville, who our scouts supposedly have ranked a little bit higher. Will he go between now and... Yeah, he's ranked at 26, perhaps. Our scouts are definitely off for sure. I doubt he's really a 15th overall guy. But just to say, that's interesting. And he's a guaranteed medium top 6. So if we could trade up for 25, then I'd be happy with doing that. Basically, just swapping picks. I'll throw in a 7th. I don't know. To move up 2 picks, does it really take that much? A bit off in value. So let's go 2 7ths to get this done. 205 and 218 with 27 to move up to 25 and just make sure that we get our guy. It's quite close to fair value. Come on. We always find a way to get 7th round picks, so I'll throw in another 7th next season. Trade accepted. Thank you, Vancouver, one of our rivals. We'll go ahead and sim to pick number 25 now. Going between there, some more average players. No, it's too crazy. Medium elite 2-way D. Cole going to the Panthers. And now we'll go ahead and select, is it Aiden Quinville in the U.S. here? Alan Quinville from the, oh, he's American, but he's from the OHL. The Owen Sound Attack of the OHL. He's 3 years away, similar to Phil the Thrill Kessel. Why the heck not? Welcome to the team, Bello. You are 67 overall, medium top 6 forward. I like it. I like it. Normal stats, it looks like. Oh no, wonky stats. I just saw the defensive attributes. Then I see the 65 hand-eye, the 93 shooting accuracy. I'm not a big fan of wonky prospects, but he is a later pick, and sometimes the ones with wonky stats but really crazy shooting tend to pan out. So, hey, I guess we'll see what happens with him. Alan Quinville on board. Next pick is at pick number 45. Do we want to make any moves between now and then? Definitely some good goalies out here, but we'll take a good goalie later on. There's other good goalies later in the draft. So I think we'll just sim to our pick and potentially even trade it. So I don't know. Unless we try to make a move for a pick next season. Let me do a little bit of thinking here. There's no one really in the close vicinity. If I trade that 2nd round pick and say Dawson Mercer to another team, can I get a 1st round pick for next season? You know what? No one's really speaking to me here, even until our next pick. There we can think about the low top 6 guy, 2-bar medium elite, 3-bar low top 4, 2-bar. Again, we can think about that our next pick. Yeah, I'm going to see if that works. Is there anybody who wants to give us a 1st round pick next season for our 2nd right now and Dawson Mercer? Let me try with the bad teams first, like Buffalo, St. Louis, Calgary. I'll look into that. Okay, so there's not a single team in the NHL that wants to trade their 1st round pick next year, nor is there a single team that wants to trade their 2nd round pick and is also interested in the pieces of the 45th overall pick, Keandre Miller and Dawson Mercer. So I guess I'm going to trade all these pieces separately, and I'll just go to the trade finder and see what we can get instead. Those are some of the picks I've just gone the last little bit. This has taken me multiple minutes to try and figure out. So what is the CPU going to offer me if I put... let me try them all together even. Maybe not Miller because the computers will think, oh, we don't have the salary cap for that. But let's try the 2nd round pick, 45th overall with Dawson Mercer. Are any offers going to come our way? Yes. Okay, so a 2nd and a 3rd from Florida this year. A 2nd and a 4th next year from Philadelphia. Okay, so we can work with that. Let's try and work with that now. It's Keandre Miller that they're not interested in, though. So I guess we'll trade Keandre Miller separately. I'll take a 2nd, a 4th, and something else from Philadelphia right now. So basically I'm swapping 2nds. I'll get a better 2nd, and then Mercer for a 4th, and let's try and get a 5th out of it. Let's try and be a little greedy, perhaps. From the Flyers, trade accepted. All right, thank you very much, Philadelphia. Another pleasure doing business with you. Dawson Mercer, has been a fun few years, buddy. You came up in the system. You did well. You got your Stanley Cup rings. All the best over in Philly. Let's see if we can move on from Keandre Miller now. But draft pick situation is looking okay. This year we have what we need, and next year we got a 1st, 2 2nds, a 3rd, 3 4ths, 2 5ths, and a 6th. Keandre Miller, this one really breaks my heart. It truly, truly breaks my heart. But, man, he wasn't even supposed to come to this team out of nowhere. He was an RFA getting disrespected. We picked him up, got him his rings. He's going to get paid now in free agency. That's just how it is with super teams sometimes. And if it doesn't work out with Yurchek, who knows? Maybe we come back to him in the future. We bring him home. But it's hard for me to rationalize going Miller over Yurchek. Yes, Miller's been better, but again, Yurchek, better potential, 4 years younger. Overall, hopefully going to keep growing. I know a lot of people say that Yurchek doesn't grow, but he grew from 82 to 83, and hopefully on a 2nd defensive pair now, he'll grow even higher. If we could trade him to the East, that would be best. Maybe to the Canadiens. 7th this year and a 7th next year, perhaps. For a Canadiens fan, I never traded the Canadiens. So that's pretty funny. Trade rejected, too far off. So how about we swap 7th in 2030? And so there we go. So we swap 7th in 2030, and we got a 7th round pick right now. K'Andre Miller off to Les Canadiens de Montréal. Thank you for your service here, my friend. It was an absolute pleasure, and I know you'll have fun with the Bleu Blanc Rouge, but it definitely hurts. So the first round pretty much coming to an end with a bunch of mid-tier prospects, the classics, the usuals. We'll go all the way to pick 59 now. Medium top 9 forward there, low top 6. Not a lot of talent here. So at like 45, for example. Medium top 9, yikes. Medium top 6, Flyers. So they took a medium top 4 defenseman and Penner. Offensive defenseman, 61 overall. Alan Penner. That's cool. Good for you guys. And a lot of medium top 9s after that. Eesh, yikes. So hopefully we can strike gold here. Pick number 59, 27th in the second round. 2 bars medium top 4D for Tero Tuominen, and 2 bar medium elite for Walker Dhaliwal, a left wing, potentially a power forward, 6'3", 17 years of age. I like that. 4 years away, which makes sense. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a project, or just a guy who's going to take longer. This is a 2 bar low elite. It's hard to pass on 2 bar medium elite. Hopefully he's at least medium top 6. Would hurt if he was medium top 9. There are these guys who are 3 bars medium top 6 or low top 6. Maybe they're better bets, but let's go for another Swiss in the system. Why not? He played with Genevieve Servette HC. Didn't do anything special really, but hopefully he grows, and who knows? Walker Dhaliwal, welcome to Seattle. 2 bars medium elite, so he is medium top 9. Oh, the scouts. Oh man, grinder. Medium top 9 grinder. Maybe he's a 4th line of the future. But that hurts. Come on, Dhaliwal. No one over. There's just no one. Tuominen was a medium top 6D. Good thing we didn't take him. But then Kopriva was low top 6. He would have been a good pick. Low top 4 pick D for Nazarov. Low top 4 D for Boland. Oh, that hurts. That really hurts. Pick 83 now in the 3rd round. Who's going now? Better picks in this 3rd round than in the 2nd round. Medium top 6 forward. Low top 4 D. More top 9 forwards all over the place. Dhaliwal, a man from Switzerland. There are some 2 bars medium top 6s, but I'm not trusting this draft, man. I am not trusting this draft right now. 2 bar medium elite, Semin from Estonia, an Estonian friend of Vitaly Popov, perhaps. 2 bar medium elite. Oh, here's a 3 bar medium elite goalie, Pasi Taipalos. 20 years of age, so he's probably closer to making the NHL. How many years away? He's 4 years away, already at 20. That's not good. But there is another elite here, Fred Gray, 5 years away, but 18. Yeah, I'll go for Fred Gray later on. I won't take the Finn. Now, I'm really not sold on these guys. I am not sold on these guys. Maybe low elite Armsden. Where'd he play? Lionel Armsden from the London Knights. 3 years away. Centerman, 18 years of age. That's not horrible. Ross Brendamore. But 7's also cool. 5 years away, though. Oh, that's tough for such a high pick. Okay, let's go for Armsden. Maybe he's nothing, but I'll take a chance on him. Lionel Armsden from the London Knights of the OHL. He is low top 6. 63 overall. Power forward centerman. All right, I'm okay with that. Medium top 6D goes after, then a medium top 9 forward, and last one, fringe starter. Okay, no problem. I'm going to pick 91, not too far away, actually. Just, yeah, no one really special there. I'll probably end up trading that pick, because I barely took anyone there. Unless we do take 7 now, it's meant to be. But there is, oh no, Beach. I didn't see Beach. 3 bar medium elite. Yeah, we'll go for Beach for sure. No one else around here with these super slow menus. No. So we'll go for Beach. Tommy Beach from Les Olympiques du Gatineau of the QMJHL. 19 years of age, 3 years away. Probably nothing crazy, but hopefully his potential is decent. Tommy Beach, he is medium elite. Hey, there he is. 61 overall. Thank you very much. All right, the scouts finally did something. 2-way forward. Who knows if he grows, but welcome to the system. All the way up to pick number 122 now towards the end of the 4th round. 3 bars, low top 6. I think that definitely is the guy. I don't even need to look. Thomas Lundstrom, 17 years of age. Bang. Welcome. Scouts having like 140s. Low top 9. It was not a good year for the Scouts, I gotta say. It was not a good year for the Scouts. And of course, I skipped over the goalie going to 187, but not a big deal. We already have a logjam of goalies. Man. I would have wanted that goalie, though. But we didn't have a pick. We would have to make a trade for the pick. Forget it. No one else super interesting here. Artem Emelin. We can go ahead and draft him. Wouldn't be a big deal. He is low elite. Hey, okay. Low elite, 48 overall offensive defenseman. We'll take that. We will take that. Anything of interest or just absolutely pits stats? Yeah, looks like they're absolutely in the gutter. Let's go to pick 210 now. Possibly our last pick, I believe. The one that came in the trade there. We didn't have that pick before. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take a big swing here on this guy, Paddock. 3 bars low elite. He's ranked in the 800s, so we're really going off here. From the Wolfsburg Grizzlies of Germany in the Dell. Edwin Paddock, 19 years of age, 5 years away, but hey, maybe he has potential. This is the time that you take swings. At 210, he's low bottom 6. All right, the Scouts scammed me once more. It was a tough year for the Scouts. The last few years have all been great for the Scouts. I don't know what happened to them this year. They took a few nights off, but hopefully that gets fixed by next year. Going to the re-sign phase now. Only Hugo Lalonde, we need to re-sign him, and our Scouts have a bunch of them to re-sign, so I'll take care of that quickly. All right, that's all done. Headed into our own players now, the re-sign phase. Let's see what we can do. We want to sign as many players as possible. We can decide what we do with them later on. Only guys we really knew what was going to happen, like Mercer and Miller, we took care of earlier on. Let's see, all expiring. We have 19.05 million to play with. Vitaly Popov, potentially our second line center next year, is thinking a 6x6, something in that range. I'd prefer to keep it at 1 year and see what he's at and then sign him to a longer term deal. But it is tempting to think that we could get him for 8 years around 6 million. The thing is he worth 6+ million after what, 2 full seasons in the NHL? 2 full seasons, 188 games played, 97 points. Last year was great at 52 points, but he's not ready for 6 million yet. He is listed as a second line forward, that's good, but I'm going to go for the 1 year route on him. He's asking for 5.65, so 85% is 4.825, so we'll give him that for 1 year. That shouldn't be a problem. Chris Moss is someone I'm willing to go longer term on. We could go for 2 only. 2 years to keep him as an RFA. Basically 2 years at 4.75. Or we can go for an 8-year deal, bring him to the age of 30, paying him close to 6 million. Now, is he a guy we're ready to commit $6 million to? 29 goals and 60 points as a mostly second liner this year, playing 15.5 minutes per night only. So putting him into first/second line over the coming years, that would be interesting with his 5-star shooting. I'm tempted because a 2-year deal, getting him to 86, 87 overall, he might want it in the 9, 10 millions by the time with inflation and all that. That's why I would not mind a really long-term deal for him. 8 goes up to is a 300K jump from 7 to 8, while 6 to 7 is only a 200K jump. Pretty much, yeah, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and 6 to 7 is 200K, but 7 to 8 is about 300K. So I'm going to try a 7-year deal for Chris Moss, and he'd take it for 5.525, it looks like. 5.525 for 7 years. If we did go for 6, it would be 5.3. 5.3 for 6 or 5.5 for 7. I'm inclined to just make it 7. With inflation and everything in the future, deals get crazy, so the longer we can keep him at this price tag, the better. 7 years for Chris Moss. Let's see what he says. Asher Maloney, he might just be a qualified guy. 2 years of... Yeah, he's wanting 4 million. After it was a good rookie season, but 49 points. Am I ready to commit 4+ million to a guy who had one 49-point season? I don't think so. So even for 1 year, I think that's too much he's asking for. So we'll qualify and figure him out on July 1st. Jamison Reese, a great feel-good story. He could be our third-line center now this coming season. Coming off a 34-point rookie season, he might be wanting a bit too much at 2.9. It's a bit high, I have to say. He is an 83 overall and all that. I got to give it to him. And I do want to keep him. There's not a big difference between 1 and 2 years. If I did go 2.9, it would be basically 2.475. 2.475 for a third-line center. That's not a bad deal for a third-line centerman. I think I'm going to do it. I know that there's better options, not better, but I know there's other options that are probably a bit cheaper that are out there, but I really want to try and keep him in the system. It's a feel-good story. He spent years in the AHL after being just a random pickup for us, and now he's in the NHL, had a good rookie season. I'm going to try and go 2 years on Jamieson Reese. Riker Evans now, I might want to try and make him our 7th defenseman over Hayden Fleury. He played, last season in 2027-28? Played 10 games, got 2 assists. In the playoffs, played 1 game, was a -2. Meanwhile, Riker Evans, who has yet to play a single NHL game, had a very good year in the AHL, is an 81 overall with low top 4 deep potential, and he's 5 years younger. So Hayden Fleury, man, an original Seattle Kraken. This is the farewell to Hayden Fleury. Great smile, great hair. What's he done with Seattle? He played in 360 games. Man, 360 games with the Kraken. He's been 360 out of his 457 games in his career have been here with Seattle. An expansion draft pick after having a tough time finding a spot in NHL lineups around, Carolina, then Anaheim. He comes to Seattle. Bounced in, bounced out, but he was a mainstay for enough time. He got his Stanley Cup rings. I wish him nothing but the absolute best in the future, but it just doesn't make sense for either of us anymore. Go and be free. That hurts. That hurts. Riker Evans now. 2 years at one. I could do that. No problem. 2 years at $1 million per. No problem. Alex Kozlov now, who's grown up to an 81 overall. 4 years keeps him as an RFA. He only wants $3 million per. Yeah, no problem with me. We'll go ahead and do a 4-year deal to see what he is after those 4 years. At 2.55 at 85% there. So 2.55 for 4 years. Thank you very much. Dylan Gambrell could be our 4th-line center now with the opening of Jamieson Reese getting promoted. But, I don't know, 1.4. Let me think about that some more. Everybody else, Heiskanen, Sloan, I'll get them signed up. I'll just make sure we have a team in the AHL. I'm not sure. I'll probably let some of these guys walk. Unsigned prospects like Rolison and Jacobs going to get signed. The other ones, perhaps they walk. Going to look at the goalies now before we move on from them. Matt Murray, he's going to walk for sure. Juho Markkinen, he's going to walk, so we'll release him. Kelly is going to get signed to his entry-level deal right there. 3 years. Bang. And he'll play with Hilpert or Malhi. We'll see what happens. Or Bladder. I don't know. We got to sign Malhi because he can't just let him walk. So we got two spots for 4 goalies basically in the AHL. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. One last deal I'm looking at here is Vince Sloan, who wants 1.2 for 1 year. I could just qualify him, get him on a cheap deal and everything, but I'd like him to make the NHL this season, very least a 7th defenseman. So I'm okay with giving him 2 years to keep him as an RFA. I'll go 2 years at 1.05, 2 seasons, and after that he'll be a UFA. We'll figure it out from there, but let's go 2 seasons for Vince Sloan, who I really want to make the NHL. He's 23 now, a former 2nd-round pick back in 2023. His attributes are there, 89 passing. He could do it. In the AHL, it's been 3 full seasons. 2 years ago was great, 53 points. Last year, so-so. He was a plus 42 the year before. So let's hope that he can, just try and have a solid summer and good preseason. All that, pretty much everything's been taken care of for the most part, so we can advance a day and see what we're looking like once all the scouts and coaches sign on. Lalone doesn't like the role we've offered as goalie coach. Okay, Lalone, so I'll have to scam the system now. I'll have to sign you as the assistant coach, demote my assistant coach to AHL head coach, then demote you to goalie coach and re-promote him back to assistant coach. What a foolish game of musical chairs that we have to play with the coaches here. Jamieson Reese doesn't like the minutes that he played. What? Come on, Jameson. I'm already giving you more than you're worth. Malhi's on board. Moss wants to test free agency. Buddy, you're a restricted free agent. Rolison, Sloan, Bocage, Evans. Popov again. You're a free agent, buddy. You're an RFA, I mean. Jacobs, Kozlov. Nice, easy decision. There's a good team player. Kelly, all those guys. Okay, so I'm not going to waste my time with those RFAs. I'm going to just qualify them and take care of them on July 1st, offering them pretty much the same thing that I already gave them. So qualify and qualify just magically on July 1st when the clock strikes 12, they'll want to accept it. UFAs, the only guy I really got to think about, guys, are Reese and Gambrell. Lafayette, I'll probably bring him back. Phillips has been here since he's an original Kraken, yet to play a single NHL game with the Kraken, but maybe next year is the year. Pronger and Vananen. I'll probably sign Vananen, but I'm not so sure about Pronger. And we'll advance a day in a moment. Gambrel was clear on how long he wanted to stay. He wanted 2, I offered him 1. Okay. Phillips is there. Reese still not content with the amount of minutes he played. Laferrière, Bolduc, Rempe, Vananen, they're all on board. So for the UFAs here, Pronger, low top 9, 62 overall, 21 years of age, former 5th round pick. I'm going to go ahead and release him. Not everybody can get signed after being drafted. I'm going to keep trying on Reese and Gambrel. Reese, man, how much did you play? 9 minutes a night for a rookie year on the 4th line? Can't be, and now I'm offering, that's why I wish I could tell him, buddy, I'm offering you more minutes now this season. So I tried 2 years at 2.55. Now I'm going to go down to 1 year and bring it up to 2.65. 2.65 for 1 year. So more money, but less risk, as if it doesn't work out, I can just dump him as opposed to being tied to him for an extra season. Gambrel, he really wants those 2 years. So 2 years at 1.350 to be 4th line centerman, maybe, if he even stays there. I'm doing these guys favors. They're lucky that we have money right now. I'm doing them all favors. The other RFAs are qualified, advancing another day now to see if they're going to be greedy. Not offering me the money I feel I'm worth, okay, and I'm not content with the minutes that I played. These guys, you know what, forget it. Forget it. I'm going to let them, everyone's going to free agency, and we'll sign them in free agency. I was going to sign your contract, but you don't have enough budget to sign me. What a joke. I don't have a budget, buddy. The owner mode is turned off. Okay, I'll go up to my imaginary budget here at $600,000 for 8 years. There you go. Then I'll demote you, promote someone else, play musical chairs. Going to the first day of free agency now, and we can finally take care of all those contracts we have to sign. Happy to join the team. Thank you for reaching out to me. I look forward to making an impact. Yeah, get back to the goalie crease, buddy, because you're getting demoted. And that's how you take care of the staff, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you take care of the staff. Now I demote... and then he signed on as what? I signed him as assistant coach, and he stays as goalie coach. Okay, great. Bartley comes back as assistant coach. Bang! Everyone is happy, and Lalonde is signed for 8 years. Oh, fantastic. Next, back to going into free agency now. It doesn't really matter if there's big names available because we won't be able to sign them really, but just out of curiosity, Adam Boquist, Adam Fox. This guy's a generated player. Let's just look at the UFAs. Jack Hughes, Cole Caulfield. What? Wild. Cole Caulfield, 41 goals and 41 assists, point per game last year, 5-star shooting. That would be amazing to have Cole Caulfield on this team. Imagine if he fits. He fits the 2nd line, maybe. That would be crazy to have Cole Caulfield, but it just doesn't work. I don't have money. I don't have $11 million to spare really right now. Has to be through trades later on. It'll have to be, those kinds of acquisitions come through the trades. So just looking at potential for any players that we can sign for the AHL, some low elite guys. Yeah, we'll take some low elite guys. Take some flyers on some of them. Goaltenders maybe just for fun. Goalies who have potential. Medium elite backup Zinger. Who's this guy? Gordy Zinger. That's a cool name. But again, he's an RFA, and we have too many goalies. We don't need goalies. Stop it, Data. Overall, Elmfeld, Blackwood, Skinner, all these guys. Okay, cool. So first, let's check out the UFAs. First, we go and get our boys. Let's go see Jameson. Oh, Jameson. There you are. He wants $3 million now, and no one's interested in him. Yeah, I'll give you the 1 year, and I'll give you the 2.5 that I was offering before. Even less now. 2.5 for 1 year, and you get back to me. Next, we go to Dylan. Oh, Dylan. Crosby's a free agent. Dylan, because worst case, I'm just going to Sidney Crosby. If Jameson Reese doesn't want to sign 1 year at 2.5, I'm going to Sid the Kid. Dylan Gambrel, there he is. He wants... How come these guys want so much money? The guy wanted 2.6 there. 1 year at 1.250. That's what I was offering. Bang. All right, back to our players now. RFAs, here we go. Vitaly Popov, we wanted to do 1 year on him. It's even cheaper now. Fantastic. Love to see that. So now we can get him at $4.2 million for 1 year. Love that. Thank you, Vitaly. Now we'll go to Mr. Popov. Excuse me, Mr. Moss. We were thinking, man, he's gotten cheap now. He's gotten cheap. How come it's 5 years at 6.1, but then 8 years, 5.1? So let's go 8 years. Let's go. I don't want to cheese it too much, but 85% would be $5 million. So 8 by 5 for Chris Moss. I don't think that makes that doesn't break too much logic. It's 5.015. So we go 8 years at 5.050. Basically, we're saying, hey, Chris Moss, you had a couple good seasons. We'd like you to be here long term. Here's $40.5 million. So just over $40 million for 8 more seasons with Seattle. What do you say? I think that's fair for everybody. I don't know if it's cheesing the system too much, but it's what he's asking for. We're giving him even a little bit more. I think it's okay. Plus, it's not like he's a proven guy. He had a really good 60-point season, but who knows what happens down the road. 8 years is a big commitment. $40 million. Everybody's happy. Asher Maloney, that's too rich for my blood. But he wants cheap for 3 years. That brings him to UFA, so I don't want to risk that. I'll go 1 year as an RFA. Already that's $3.4 million for 1 year. That's pushing it. 3.4 for 1 year. I might wait a little bit. I don't know. 18.1 minus the 4.2 for Popov and the 5.05 from. That leaves us with 8.85. We signed Maloney for 3.4. That leaves us with 5.45 million to just have wiggle room throughout the season if we want to do anything. It's a bit expensive. I might wait a bit on Maloney and see if I can just get him down a little bit. Heiskanen, same. Actually, I can go 1 year. So I'm going to go 1 year at 0.850. Woo! 1 year, 0.850 for Vesa Heiskanen. That's nice. He'll keep considering his options, and we'll get back to you, boys. Okay, that's all taken care of. Some potential AHL players, some contracts sent out to them. No new scouts to sign on. I don't know what it's been the last 2-3 years. There have been like no good scouts in the higher staff pool, which has been odd. The Oilers want to give us Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a 3rd and a 4th for Lundberg and Obergauer. Going to decline that. Very interesting. Let's see who signs on now. Gambrel rejecting the offer and doesn't like the dollars. Goodbye. Jamison Reese, not within my consideration range. Goodbye. Moss, I've decided to accept your offer. I look forward to making an impact. Okay, welcome. Kemmel, one of the players, doesn't want a two-way offer. Goodbye. Heiskanen's back on board. Rayala, or Rayala. Probably Rayala, one of the prospects. 79 overall prospect we got there. Leonardo Staples. Oh, he was a good prospect that I wanted, actually. Good defensive prospect, but the Leafs end up getting him. That's pretty much it as of right now. Pesci, Nudvard, no thank you from Toronto. Advanced another day. Popov rejects, doesn't like the duration. And nothing went out to Maloney yet, so let's try it again. The thing is, he's definitely getting a 1 year contract. He's staying as an RFA. There's no chance of making him 5 years. So if I have to go up in money, I'll go up in money. But let's try 1 year at $4.5 million for Popov. Maloney, have your demands come down at all for 1 year? No, not for 1 year. For 2 years, they have though 3.9, but it would still be about like 3.35 for 2 years. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. Maybe just a tad lower. Back to free agency. Oh, Jameson. Here he is. Still wants 1 year, $3 million. Don't think he's going to get that. Let's go 1 year. I don't know what I offered him last time. Let's go. I feel better offering more since it's for 1 year. 1 year, 2.750 for Jameson. 4th line center, Gambrel, an original Seattle Kraken. Crosby at medium, exact bottom 6 is going to continue to drop. Feels weird that he left Pittsburgh, but it could be a good story here with Nathan MacKinnon. 40 years of age, Sid the Kid. 52-point season with Vegas last year. Do we give him life? I don't know, man. Sid is interesting. As a 4th line guy with special teams, maybe? That's tempting. What's Gambrel asking for here? 1.6 for 1 year. Gambrel was very good when he played for us in the NHL. He's been great in the AHL as well, 61-point season there. But I don't know if he had much time with San Jose, so minus 99 games. No, then another 8. Okay, minus like 100-ish games with the Sharks. He had, 55 plus 8, 63 plus 22 is 85. He has 85 points out of his 129 in his career here with Seattle, always as a 4th liner as well. 22 and 64, 30 and 82. He's had some very solid seasons. The only reason he hasn't been playing is because there hasn't been enough room on the roster. Stanley Cups, we won in 2020, 5, 6, and 7. So he has 2 Stanley Cup rings with 6 points in 23 games and 7 points in 20 games there. So you got to think, though, what we got to do for the team? What's the best decision for the team? Is Gambrel here long term? I don't think so. Would Crosby be here long term? I don't think so either. Shout out to Ryan Suzuki, former Seattle Kraken. It's kind of like a 1 year thing, and we have the money to do a 1 year thing. So if Crosby would take 1 year, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'll send it to him. Sid, if you want 1 year at $2.5 million to come play with Nate the Great, he'll probably drop to an 80 or 79 overall, be our fourth line guy, get special teams, bring the cup back to the Maritimes. That would be interesting. Cole Harbor, let's see what they can do. So Reese got his contract, the RFA guys got their contracts, and Sid the Kid has a contract offer from the Seattle Kraken. Can he get one more before he goes out? Let's see. Advancing another day, still nothing. Advance one, not. They're taking a long time to think about these. Crosby goes to Minnesota. I'm looking for a team that's more of a playoff contender, buddy. We have 3 cups in 4 years. What a joke. Get out of here, Sid. And Reese says the same thing. Get out. I gave you life. I gave you your life. And he goes to the Islanders. I gave you your life. The disrespect from these players. Well, now we have a fire, boys. Now we have a fire within us. We're going to win another one. We're going to win another one. Let's see who's... So, just like that, we're looking for a new third-line center. Just like that. So, what are our options? I was not thinking we'd be doing this, but here we are. So, Yannick is one team interested in him. Jan Yannick, two-way forward, 99 shooting power. Very odd player. 9 goals, 32 assists. Very odd. Fits the third line potentially. That's very weird though. I was wanting to keep Jameson. 41 points with Chicago last year. Yannick. Weird shooting. William Karlsson's solid. Gabe Vilardi has the top 6 potential. Did we bring back former Seattle Kraken Max Domi back into the fold? He was on the team, on the original team back in 2021-22, 53 points in 76 games before he went to Arizona, the team that drafted him. The Phoenix Coyotes. Appleton, former Kraken. Barbashev. Barbashev's not bad. But Domi, is he a centerman? Can he have 75 face-offs? That's the problem. Fits the fourth line. Was not thinking we'd be thinking about this. Braden Shen's 36 now. Gambrel's still out here. Yeah, Gambrel can definitely be fourth line center if we're not going to get Reese and Crosby. So 1 year at 1.375. Yeah, you know what? Forget it. 1 year at 1.5. Take it, bro. Just take it. You greedy, greedy animal. Just take it. Pavel Zacha, though, maybe he's the guy. He is listed as a third liner. I was skipping over him due to his overall, but he fits the bottom 6, perhaps. Decent face-offs at 77. Yannick at 79. None of these guys are real centermen. Karlsson, 77. Vilardi, 81. Last year, 4 goals, 9 assists in 50 games. Yikes. And what does he do historically? And nothing too great. 234 points in 581 games. I lean Pavel Zacha here. We have the money to do it, so may as well. Unless Popov stays third line center and we get a second line winger. Hold on. Pump the brakes. Everything's just going through my mind at once now. What if we go out and get a guy like, I don't know, Josh Anderson or Kailer Yamamoto playing second line wing? And then Popov plays third line. Sprong maybe fits the third. 22 goals, 41 assists last season with Beniers and Moss. He passes the puck well. Maybe Daniel Sprong, you want to get a cup for 1 quick year, big boy? Just 1 quick year. 1 quick Stanley Cup. What do you think? Tampa's interested. Do we have the money to do that? Yeah, we have the money. We have the money. This is... things change fast. Life comes at you quick, man. 1 year, $7.5 million. Daniel Sprong, 86 overall somehow. Let's see what he thinks about this, because now we make Popov third line, give him a lot of special teams. Sid's not here. Reese is not here. That changes things. Extremely happy. Cash offer most generous. Daniel Sprong, welcome to Seattle. Popov signs on for the 1 year deal. Okay. Is Gambrel on board for his fourth line center role? Let's see what he says to that. Few more days, take your sweet time, and he goes to the Penguins. Goodbye. An original Kraken, another original Kraken gone. Offered him exactly what he wanted, and he did not take it. So, do we go out and get another fourth line center, or do we just see who's in our organization first before we make a decision like that? The thing is, we might see growth from these players. You know what? I'll figure out fourth line center when the season starts up. I'm going to wait to see on the fourth line centerman, because maybe it just wasn't meant to be with Gambrel, because there's someone else who's going to take his spot. So the team just looked quite different out of nowhere, as we could have gotten. It would have been cool to get Cole Caulfield for 1 year, But I don't know. Could we have done it? He would have wanted 10, 11 million. It would have been extremely tight. It would have been down to the last dollar. And thinking about the expiring here, and would he have wanted a 1-year deal as well? Nathan MacKinnon, he wants his big money next season. Alex Tuch currently making 5.1. He's not staying next year, according to these numbers. But these numbers are always, at the start, it's always odd. So maybe they'll come back down to earth. Tarasenko for 1 more year, he'd want 40. Tough. A lot of things that happened in this free agency period that I did not think would happen. Before we can sim through the summer and see what kind of growth we get to figure out the lineup, we do have to go to see what our draft class will be like for next season. As always, we'll randomize a number 1 to 100, 1 to 20, 1 to 30, is low, 31 to 69 is medium, 70 to 100 is high. So last year was medium. This year for the draft class quality, we get 47, so it stays medium. And generated prospect quality is 67, so medium again. So another medium year here in the draft. It would be nice to see low or high in one of those, but that's the average NHL draft. It was medium. Probably next year, after 2 straight years of medium, I'm sure next season we'll get at least a high or a low somewhere. It'd be nice to see a high in there, but the league is quite talented already. That's taken care of. We have the squad potentially ready to go. Let's have a strong offseason, work hard, eat well, Gary Roberts Academy, and we'll see you in September. Pump the brakes. Totally forgot about Asher Maloney. So it's a good thing we didn't sign a guy like Cole Caulfield, because we needed that extra $3 million to sign Asher Maloney. So for 2 years, he's down to wanting 3.150. We could cheese him for a bit less, but I think 2 years at 2.750 is a very fair contract for a guy who's coming off like a decent third-line rookie season. Let's go 2 years. I pay you a little over $5 million to prove yourself. Hey, we'll go from there. So 2 years, 2.750 for Asher. I'm very sure that he'll sign that, and then we will actually be able to go into next year. So I was a bit upset about not being able to get a guy like Cole Caulfield, but no, it makes sense. We needed a guy at a $7 million price tag like Sprong because we needed that money. There we go. For Asher Maloney, I believe this signing will be good for myself in the franchise. Great. And here we are in September now, so I'll go ahead and set the lines up for what they may potentially look like moving into next season, and we'll get a better idea of how we are looking organizationally. All right, so here we are. First line, 89 overall Alex Tuch with Nathan MacKinnon and Isaiah Marco +1. Second line, Moss, Beniers, and Sprong with the +2. Everyone has maintained their same overall. Moss at an 84 still, but Sprong, he's going to have that 88 passing plus the 4.5-star shooting. Matty Beniers, just Matty Beniers as always. Great two-way guy, 5-star puck skills, 92 offensive awareness. And Chris Moss, his 5-star shooting. That could be a deadly line. Third line, Tarasenko down to an 82 overall. Vitaly Popov at an 85 with his 99 passing and all that good stuff. And Asher Maloney at an 83 overall with also as a playmaker. So maybe the lines should be changed based on the player types. I know it's playmaker, two-way forward, sniper, but it's almost more like playmaker, sniper. Fourth line, Rickard Bergenheim is up to an 80 overall. He'll be pushing for the third line sometime this year or next year. Pasi Lume is listed as a third-line checking forward, but I'm hesitant to put him as third-line center because already as fourth-line center with 64 faceoffs. I'm trying to make him work on his faceoffs, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He might become a winger. And Vesa Heiskanen likely making the NHL as a full-timer this year at the age of 24, years and years after we got him. 9 games in the NHL last season, and now he's ready to make his full-time NHL debut, perhaps. On defense, unfortunately, we have not seen any growth. Chychrun and Bear, Jiricek and Kozlov's what I'm thinking, and then Evans and Morrison, perhaps. So I know it looks a bit weird overall-wise, but think about this. Can you name me another defenseman who was a first-round pick, played 3 full seasons, and headed into his 4th was still a third-pair guy? It can't be. Kozlov is a second-pair guy. I know he is a defensive defenseman, but he had a 23-point season last year. He's a +41 in his career through 236 games. He's only averaging like 13 to 15 minutes a night. I want to get him higher. I want him to grow. I know his overall might not be there right now, but we got to get him up there. Jiricek as well. At the +2, this is their greatest opportunity to grow. Third pair, I want Morrison to grow as well, but can I rationalize as much a 79 overall sophomore in the top 4? over Kozlov? I don't know. Riker Evans will be making his NHL debut. 7th defenseman would be 79 overall Vince Sloan. But then I looked in the AHL and saw Braden Kobasu is an 80 overall. 2nd round pick in 2024. Also an offensive defenseman. Here's how his numbers look to Sloan's. He has, I don't know, he has better defense. Sloan has the better puck skills, but Kobasu has the better defense, the better skating, the better physical. Maybe we just got to cut our, let Vince Sloan go, cut our losses. I don't know. But Kobasu really would be a guy that I'd want to be playing full-time NHL as well. Rayala, our 13th forward, 7th round pick from the Maple Leafs in 2024. Got him there in free agency. He'll be a just 13th forward, like I said. Goaltending, no growth. Wilm, 87. Malik, 82. And that's pretty much the lineup. In the AHL, not much going on there. Piper's up to a 74. Tikhonov has grown 10 overall from the beginning of last year, from a 65 to a 73, and now a 73 to a 75, which is nice. Lundberg's up to a 78. Some other defensive growth a little bit there. Hilpert has grown to a 73. He has starter potential. Backing him up is Kelly with elite potential. He is 1 year younger, 1 overall lower, and better potential. Scratches, Malahi at a 70, Bladder at a 69. So I think Bladder is definitely the odd man out. But do we run Malahi as the third goalie with medium league potential at a 70? Or do we keep Hilpert and Kelly as the 73 and the 72? Understanding, though, that Hilpert is a medium starter. I'll probably have to get some other players as well for NHL and for the AHL depth, because it's not really there. But it's a good thing we didn't sign a 4th-line centerman, because Pasi Lume just goes there nicely, since I forgot that players would get bumped down a little bit. Daniel Sprong, I keep saying Dylan. Daniel Sprong now a 2nd liner for us. Likely just a 1 year thing. We'll see what happens moving forward, but we really want the ideal lineup. Popov 2nd line, Beniers at the wing, Moss maybe to the top 6. The future is here. Bergenheim moving up, Lume moving up, Maloney moving up. I just gotta see it from these guys. I'm begging to see it from them. I'm giving them all kinds of opportunity. I'm giving them room to breathe. I cut out Roseyan. I cut out Dawson Mercer. I'm giving them room. I just need to see it. So we'll give them special teams as well. I won't go into the preseason yet. That's for next episode. What I need from all of you is going to be who we want to see in the preseason. Who could be making a jump? Do we give opportunities to guys like Bocage, guys like Laferriere, maybe even guys like Lundberg? Or do we keep our lineup and it's pretty much just the preseason is figuring out whether or not Rayala, Kobasu, and Sloan are making it? Is it just those 3 guys and the rest are locked? Or are we going deeper into the system? Same for the AHL goaltending. We've got to figure out about that. The captaincies do not change. Once again, our captain is Vladimir Tarasenko, the alternates being Nathan McKinnon and Ethan Bear. And don't forget, headed into next season, we can add or remove X factors for up to 3 players. Should we give one to Alex Tuck? Should we give one to Daniel Sprung? I don't know, we haven't seen anything from him yet. More to Chris Moss, perhaps. Remove some from Vladimir Tarasenko. Maybe one to Popov with his 99 passing. Yeah, I think if you have 99 passing, you should have an X factor for passing, right? I think that's fair. Maybe another one for Bear. I don't know, Kozlov. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that if there are any. There was a good comment about how we can go and look at the top players of the NHL each season. For example, who the top hitter was, who the top shot blocker was, and then assign X factors like that. So I'm looking forward. I'm going to try that moving forward because you can edit the X factors of other players in the league. So consider that. Maybe we give an X factor to Chubarov or Zegras on Anaheim after that crazy Stanley Cup run. But just to say, we haven't done much for X Factors recently. We do have the possibility of adding or removing from up to 3 players heading into this 8th season. So things are going to get tight around here. The salary cap is definitely going to get tight. On top of just all the money that we saw before, let's see what they're asking for now. We have $0.155 million in cap space at the moment. Next year in extension dollars, we'll have $36 million because of how many guys are up for extensions. We could get Nathan McKinnon for cheaper than he is now if we signed him to a 1 or 2 year deal right now. So consider that. We could go 2 years at like 10.075. 2 years at 10.075 right now. I think that would be a steal, actually. Alex Tuck is the tough one. He's just going to have to walk, or we'll have to trade him at the deadline or something. But $12 million, we cannot hang on to him. Ethan Bear, we'd really want to keep Ethan Bear. Probably, yeah, we could do that, but we could wait. Sprong, who knows? Tarasenko, Kobasu, we'll have to figure those out later. But just the biggest one of Nathan McKinnon would likely be something that we could take care of as soon as next episode. And of course, always when finishing things off, we want to take a look at the trade blocks around the league, if there's anything that strikes your fancy. But I think the team is pretty much set as is. It's just those little questions that I threw out there. A wild offseason in terms of where we started and where we ended up, because I was not expecting players to walk like that. It's sad to lose out on Reese and Gambrell and even Crosby. We thought he could have been a possibility. But we end up getting Daniel Sprong, a new top 6 sniper for us. So sorting through the teams in the NHL, just going by overall. If anybody interests you, you can go ahead and take a look, or ask me to take a look deeper. Rasmus Andersson, 1 year left at an 86 overall as a defenseman. Is the defense okay? What kind of experimenting do we give to them? Next episode will be just the preseason in the first half. Gabe Vilardi signed to a 1-year deal in Carolina. Bach, Stevenson, Pius, Patrick Kane, Suter. Chicago, we got Seth Jones for 2 more years. Jaden Schwartz had 1 more year. Julien Gauthier, Devontae, Klingberg, Murray down the list. No one in Colorado. Columbus, prospects. Dallas, John Marino. Detroit, Jake Gensel for 3 more years. Also Cirelli, Toffoli, Lawton, Kerfoot, Stenlund, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, expiring deal. Same for Philippe Danault. Philippe Danault. Ben voyons donc Philippe Danault. It doesn't seem to fit the lines, but we know that we could make him fit somewhere if we had to. Love to get him a ring if possible. Where would he fit, though? That is the question. Florida Panthers, another Nugent-Hopkins. Lundqvist and Pulock over on the Kings, former Seattle Kraken Pulock. Keandre Miller signed a 4-year deal with the Minnesota Wild. 4 years at $6.12 per year. See, we couldn't afford it. We have 0.15 to play with. And yes, okay, let's say we gave Sprong money to Miller. Now we just have more problems on defense, and we're missing a top 6 forward. Yes, okay, we put up Popov, we put up Lume, but now our 4th line is Heiskanen, Rayala, and Bergenheim. Actually, not that bad, but again, those defensive problems, and we had to let Miller, when you love him, you let him go. Fabro, Foote, Milano, Athanasiou, other names there. The Canadians, prospects, Predators, prospects, Devils, prospects, Islanders, prospects, Rangers, Josh Anderson, who just signed for 2 years, Vitaly Kravtsov, Manjapane, Zibanejad, Hall, some other names there. Prospects on the Senators, Flyers, Dawson Mercer as an RFA is still hanging out. So is Boris Kachuk. Prospects on the Penguins, Sharks prospects, Blues prospects, Lightning prospect, Maple Leaf prospects, Canucks, Fortier, Yermo, Hutton, Bowers, Morris E. Timmins, Shillington, former Kraken Shillington, McCabe, Edmondson, Pietrangelo expiring deal, Nichushkin, Nemesnikov, all on Vegas. Washington, Ristolainen, Gooley, Zub, Uyghur, 2 more years for him though, and long deals for those guys. Pajot, Adam Ernie. Winnipeg Jets, Nick Ehlers for 4 more years. Jared McCann, former Kraken, great contract, under $3 million as an 85 overall. Jared McCann, keep that in mind. Owen Tippett expiring deal. Scheifele 3 years at over $10 million. Gru and Max Domi. So there are the trade blocks around the NHL. Keep those in mind, maybe not just for deals right now, but also for deals that could happen closer to the deadline if we're looking for certain positions of players. Anyone left in free agency out here just for kicks? If anybody's still around in the 2028 pool, Emery, Mercer, as we said, Dawson Mercer, he's unsigned. Philippe Myers, Liam Foodie as an 81 overall. Hayden Fleury unsigned, only for $800K, imagine that. I would love to get Hayden Fleury back, but just there's no room for the guy unless we played him in the AHL. That's the thing. We do need a defenseman in the AHL. Do we bring back Hayden Fleury? Answer in the comments down below or over on the Discord server, link in the description, because that is the end of this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'll send out the scouts, and next episode we'll get into the preseason and the regular season, the first half of the 2028-29 regular season. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Be sure to leave all your thoughts in the comments as previously mentioned, because there's a lot to think about after an offseason that had a lot of unforeseen surprises and twists and turns. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you join the team. You'll be made aware of all the uploads here on the channel, of course, including Seattle Kraken franchise mode and all the other series that we have kind of on pause at the moment as I finish up university over the next few weeks, so thank you for your patience with that. If you're a fan of the offseason moves, be sure to leave a like, and you know what, even leave a comment. Did GM Data get a passing grade for this draft and offseason? We did what we could, we made a few moves, we had some surprises like I said, but I'm always accountable to the assistant general managers and to the general population of Seattle, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say on YouTube or in Discord, so we will talk there. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next one.